start. It's now just after 10 o'clock South African time. Again, thank you for attending this IPSAS What's New webinar. My name is Stefan van der Merwe. I will be your presenter today. I'm a product manager at Caseware Africa, and we'll be taking you through this latest release of IPSAS. I think, you know, just it's always good just to share what Caseware Africa, who Caseware Africa is, and what we're trying to do, especially in the African region or the African continent. Our public sector division of Caseware Africa really want to let every public sector entity in Africa use Caseware to manage and prepare their statutory financial statements. However, our purpose is that we hope that that the software solutions we provide will strengthen transparency of financial reporting of public sector entities, which we hope is a small contribution to governments in Africa better serving its citizens. That's sort of just our mission statement. Caseware, I'm not going to take you too much through. We only have got an hour, so I'm not going to take you too much through Caseware or Adapt IT. Who's Adapt IT or Caseware Africa? I assume you know it. And because you know, most of you already own software from Caseware. This specific webinar deals with the latest IPSAS release, and we're going to jump right into it. This latest IPSAS release have been developed using Caseware Working Papers 2024 092. Or Caseware Working Papers 2024, the Smart Sync version. So we would recommend that you can't, if you are not on this latest version of Caseware, then you would not be able to install this latest version of the IPSAS template. So that's a prerequisite for the installation. Then connector is, if you own connector, is also the latest connector version that you need to have installed on your laptop. But the big thing is in installing the latest IPSAS template. This version is 2024-1101, and as always, you can obtain this template from Caseware, the success.caseware Africa, or as we call it, the Caseware community. You can get that that installation there. Then that's also a very good resource for you to have access to the release notes of what is in this update, as well as other resources, FAQs, videos, link to videos that can help you working with Caseware better. Then it's also the place where you can engage with our support team using live chat. I don't know if you are aware, but our support team is now available from 7 in the morning till 7 at the evening, South African time. I know in Kenya and sometimes in Namibia, the time zones are a bit different. But it does, the long and short is that our support team is longer available for you to assist you. And again, the best option to get in contact with our support team is via live chat. I'll show you that now as well. Then we also have a YouTube channel. Please check out our YouTube channel at Caseware Africa, and a lot of the content that we do share, we take video recordings of, and then we post those video recordings on YouTube, and that you can also get in access to free lessons. Okay, I'm just going to jump quickly to a very important page, which is the Caseware Success Community. On your browser, if you type in https success.casewareafrica.com, it will take you to our Success Community. In our Success Community, we have information of all the product updates, and I've just taken you click on product updates and you click on templates and you go to this IPSAS template. You can see it's IPSAS 2024-1101, and you click on that, then that will take you to the release notes. And I'm just going to keep here because this is also going to be our reference of just taking you through what is in this release. More importantly is also, this is where you would get access to your to the software. So if you've got login details, this is one of our clients' login details, then you can go into the login details. Let me just do it here. Let's log in here at Success. This is that IT. Then you can log in here to your login details, and if you logged in, and remember you can log into the Success community or our Success website if you are a licensed user. You know, you can also immediately see there's some notification the moment you log in on what's happening on your licenses. But to get access to this latest release, you log in, you go to My Software, you go to Launch Software, and you type in your email address, and that will take you to this login screen here. I'm an employee at Caseware Africa, so I've got access to all the different softwares, but the one that you would need to download for this release is the IPSAS, as well as your Caseware working papers, and whatever version that you are on. You can see there's Caseware working papers 9207, and you can download that. Then you can create your packager file and generate and download your installation to your desktop or to your device, and then from there you can install this latest installation onto your on your workstation. So I'm just going to see. I don't think you guys have sorry, I didn't share my screen. Apologies for that. Apologies for that. Let me just go 2 steps back. I see now on my webinar page I didn't share the live share, but let us quickly do that again. Apologies for that. Okay, again, just to now you guys can see what I'm talking about. If you have any questions we don't see, please don't assume that you know that you can ask questions or chat or make a comment. Hold back on that. I will check out during the webinar if there's any questions or any, then respond to it. But Caseware Working Papers 2024 or Caseware Working Papers Smart Sync. If you're using Connector, then you also need to have Connector 24, and you need to have this IPSAS 2024-1101 installed in order to have this latest content. you get this latest content on the Caseware Success community. I was talking that through and nobody really saw that, so let me continue with that. I was just showing, this is the Caseware Success community. If you're on the Caseware Success community, you go to product updates, and here's all our products that you would use. There is the IPSAS, the 2024-1101, and this is then the content that we are including in this latest release. In order to get this latest release, you need to log into the website, and I've already logged into this website. Here I've logged in to this website. I go to my software, I click on launch download, type in my email address, and then we'll go to the packager. This is go back. I would need then select the Caseware desktop or the Caseware working papers version, the application, then the connector version, and then lastly I need to select, you can see it's the IPSAS 2024 _1 version, and then I can click next, generate, and after I've generated this package, I will be able to download this installation onto my laptop and then install this application onto my laptop. I'm just gonna stop that now. I'm not going to download for this webinar, this one as well. Okay, so after I have downloaded the installation, I can go to my downloads folder. There would be a packager, a software installation packager. You click on setup, and you click on next, 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 and then this latest software would be installed on your PC. Okay, after you've installed the software on your PC, then Caseware would be installed, and if you go to your help, you would see that is the Caseware version 2024, and if I go to my templates, I would see my IPSAS 2024 has also been installed. Okay, now now that you have obtained the software, now you can actually go and update your file. You can go to an existing file, and the moment you open up an existing file, let's just open up your existing file here. You will now get an update notification. Give it a moment. And you will be able to run this content update on your file. But this is where there's some now important things to note. First of all, if you are an experienced Caseware user, you would know the update process allows for you to have two options: a full update and then only an add of the new content to your existing file. You would see for this IPSAS update, there is no second option, just to add the new update, and only a full update is available. The reason being is that this option is the only option available due to the comprehensive changes that was introduced in this release. And that is bringing us now to the content. Okay, so in the content, and let's just go back to my presentation. So in the content, Caseware focus on assisting you with compliance with presentation and disclosure and automation of that. In this release, we are adding the latest content of IPSAS 41. which you need to read together with IPSAS 1 and IPSAS 29, as well as IPSAS 30 to really make sense of it. Then also this IPSAS adds a new IPSAS 42 for social benefits, changes to IPSAS 3, the new transportations note, changes to IPSAS 19 on the provisions, to update for collective individual services, an update to the cash flow statement, not just because of social benefits and all the changes on financial instruments, but also introducing a disclosure note for changes in liabilities arising from financial activities. And we've also aligned to the Kenyan specimen, specifically adding a new feature to help you to list your content for the board and council and key management team. So this is just from a high level. However, if we delve deeper into the content, and I'm just going to do a quick overview, and I think at the moment you actually see the extent of the content changes we need to do, you would also appreciate and understand why we only have a full update available for this release and not the ad, because the ad, it's too much. There's too many sections and areas in the financial statements that would need to change, and it wasn't just doable to do that. Our IPSAS 41 financial instruments methodology, or that we took in our presentation and disclosure update for this template, was based on the fact that IPSAS 41 is based on IFRS 9. IFRS 9 was already released in 2018 in our IFRS template, and during that time we at Caseware also followed a specific way of how to deal with financial instruments, and what we then did in this IPSAS release is that we followed a lot of the principles and the options on how the disclosure was done in our IFRS template, now in our IPSAS template as well. The principles, not all the content, because the content still needs to be in context of IPSAS. You need to use the right terminology, not fair value through comprehensive income, but through net assets and equity. You need to cater for concessionary loans, and you need to use the right terminology for your economic entity and your controlling entity, and you need to just use the all the relevant nuances that is applicable in IPSAS. But being as it may, we used a lot of the way that we would do the presentation as disclosure as what we already did in our IFRS template, and that IFRS 9 disclosure has already been tested from 2018 onwards, so that is compliant with best practices is a fact. Okay. However, to align to that is, in essence, we removed the two line items, other financial liabilities and other financial assets, from the statement of financial position, and we just unpacked it more with more relevant financial instruments disclosures. There is an existing financial instruments, your revenue from exchange, revenue from non-exchange, and cash equivalents. Those does not change, and we just need to add some additional content to those line items. But we needed to add new line items for loans receivable, investments at fair value, derivatives, derivatives on the asset side, debt instruments at fair value through net assets or equity, derivatives on the liability side, financial liabilities at fair value, borrowings, and then financial guarantee contracts. So these are new line items on the face with its related notes. Then on the income statement, we also added gains and losses on the recognition of financial assets measured at amortized cost, a new line item for gains and losses on reclassification, adjustments from amortized cost to fair value through surplus and deficit, and gains on reclassification adjustments from fair value through net assets to fair value through surplus and deficit. So that was then on the income statement. These were 3 line items that we catered for. However, there was a lot of existing income statement notes that we also need to update to align to the new line items that we introduced on the face. For example, the impairment note in our automation context. You know, the moment you prepare for impairment on, you know, we sort of have an impairment row for each one of the line items on the face of the balance sheet, and therefore that note also needs to be updated. We added also some new columns, actually just renamed the hedging reserve to the cash flow hedging reserve, and then also the fair value adjustments available for sale reserve to the reserve for valuation of financial instruments. And then I'm just gonna, this is just some highlights. I mean, needed to update the cash flow statements as well. If I go back to, I just want to go back to the Caseware community. I just wanted to show you, and I was just looking at the time. Oh, no, not that one there. Product updates. Here is also very much the same content, but more in detail. So there is all the new line items that we added on the current assets, the non-current current asset side, the non-current liabilities, and the current liability side. What we removed, line items we added on the face of the statement, financial performance, changes we've made on the statement change in net assets. You know, the 2 columns, but then we also added rows for the transfers of cash flow hedges, hedging gains and losses, and the deferred cost of hedging to initial carrying value of the hedge items. So there are 4 rows that we also added, so 2 new columns and 4 new rows. We updated the cash flow statement, and this is a bit more giving you the just how comprehensive the changes was. You know, on the cash flow investing activities, 4 new type of movements we need to cater for. On the financing activities, also 4 new operating activities, 3 new line items we are that we cater for. But then also remove some items from the cash flow. Updated the accounting policies with the new accounting policy for financial instruments, updated the significant estimates and adjustment accounting policies, and then we added, I think I counted up to that we added new notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We added 13 new notes, and we updated another 20 existing notes that all was impacted by the change in the financial instruments. We also needed to update the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts, and we needed to update the document manager, added all of these new folders, also 12 of them, and we needed to remove. So this is only the changes we need to do on the financial instruments. Then on the social benefits, and I'll show you now that I'm just giving you a bit of a high-level overview, but again, just to explain why we only have the 1 option available because of all the comprehensive changes. On the social benefits, we added a new line item on the statement of financial position. We added a new expense item on the statement of financial performance. We needed to cater for that new line item on the balance sheet. On the cash flow statement, we needed to update again the BC statement. We updated the accounting policy. We created a brand new note. We needed to update the provisions note, and we needed to update the document manager. And those were the 2 big standards, and that require, between the 2 of them, we possibly needed to change 14 notes up till now. Then there was also some consequential changes on the provision standard, or provisions note, that we needed to update for collective and individual services. We needed to update the new transportations note due to the changes to IPSAS 49 that's still to come, and then the conceptual framework that changes that has also been approved. We need to cater for the new transportations note. As I mentioned, the cash flow statement on the cash flow standard IPSAS 2, a new note for changes in liabilities arising from financing activities, a change then also in the service concession arrangements. And what we actually need, even though the service concession arrangements wasn't was already approved last year, when we implemented the financial instruments, we all know Caseware work with mapping and we work with ranges, and we actually saw that the service concession arrangements mapping range was in the wrong range, and it clashed with our financial instruments update. So we've changed that mapping range for the service concession arrangement from 450 on the this is the liabilities, 1.5 on the liabilities from 450 to 209, and that resulted us to update also the service concession arrangements note, the related cash flow items, as well as the statement of comparative of budget and actual amounts. So even though, again, this wasn't, the service concession arrangement wasn't really part of the IPSAS 41 change, just to help with, just to make Caseware work well, we needed to make a range change in the mapping, and consequently also update the note with the right references. Then alignment to the Kenyan specimen, and we added a new feature that makes it easier to list your board of directors and council members with an image and then a write-up of that person, as well for your key management team, and in our IPSAS Kenya, for our IPSAS clients in Kenya, we also cater for quarterly reporting, and we needed to update Appendix 1 that deals with the quarterly reporting for the statement of financial performance, with all these new line items that was introduced by us due to the changes in IPSAS 41. And then lastly, we made some usability improvements. I will show you that now as well. 2 logos on the cover page, option now, an option on the super insert to insert an alphanumeric table, and we also improved the speed of the super insert option. Okay. So just to get back, if you want to, and I showed you all of that content just to again explain why we're doing only a full update. The comprehensives were 2. The changes were too comprehensive, and it just didn't make sense just to add these changes. We rather just replace the whole financial statements with all this latest content. However, you can still run the full update. You need to select that you want to run the full update. You need to confirm you've made a backup, and then you can run the update. Okay, so I am done with this file. Then let's go to this file. Okay. Okay, so this is now this is a file that has now been completed after the update. You can see if you're not used to the public sector templates, in the public sector templates, all of them use this layout, which is just a shortcut keys to the most important areas in the file. However, it also tells you, without going into the financial statements, on what version this file is. You can see that this file is already on version 2024 11.01, so we've run the update. And you can also see that here on the lead schedules, all the new items for the financial instruments have been added to the document manager. You know, the debt instruments, the investments at fair value, then that's the current assets, then the non-current assets, the borrowings, the derivatives, and the financial liabilities at fair value, and the financial guarantee contracts. Cool. So if you want to now, let's go into the financial statements. So after you've now run the update, you will see these new line items. Before I go there, just take note, you know, like always, the mapping database is the main source of what drives the disclosure. So that's the first portion that you would see have been updated with all the new categories, which I've shown you there. This is on the non-current asset side, the investment at fair value, loans receivables at amortized cost, the debt instruments, and debt instruments at fair value through net assets, and then on the current asset side, the same line items that's on the non-current asset side has been updated, and then on the equity and liability side, you would see then the borrowings, and you can see now where the ranges now is important because we have specific ranges, this 440 and 450 ranges for our financial instruments, and then we also updated then a new range for the social benefit liabilities, and then with all the different sub mapping numbers that you can map it to. Okay, so I think what will happen during the update, there is some remap that we do from line items that we think you previously would have mapped maybe to other financial assets or other financial liabilities. However, if we cannot remap it, then the accounts will just be unmapped. So I would recommend after you've run the update, just go and check that your mapping database is, you know, in your account assigned mapping, everything is mapped. Just understand that if we have not remapped everything, is that we couldn't, you know, it wasn't practical for us to make a judgment call to say, listen, this account was previously mapped to financial assets at fair value, that it now needs to go to the, investments at fair value, you know. So we would rather than just unmap it, and then you as the user needs to map it to the right place. Okay. So after you have now mapped your make sure that all your accounts have been mapped. Now, again, like always, just make sure that everything is balancing. Your balance check is balancing to 0, and you would now see the new disclosure line items on your face of your financial statements, or statement of financial position, and then the line items we unpacked. However, there's like this general methodology that we did. First of all, for the new line items we added to the face, we added a new note. The new note will give you a basic guidance, and then will also show you a table of the the breakup of that line item on your face. But the big thing is now in the disclosure notes at the beneath your main table in the note, you would have your main section, your exposure to credit risk, and then information about that you need to complete, then exposure to your currency risk, then there's some options regarding in that section, and then your exposure to your interest rates risk. Okay, so that's sort of the, and then lastly, you also have a section that you can complete regarding your fair value information about this this instrument. Okay, so that's basically a very structured way on how we've dealt with it. So each one of the notes that is linked to financial instruments would have this structure. If you go to receivable from exchange transactions, this isn't a new line item, and so all the existing presentation disclosure options that was there is still, that is applicable, is still there. However, we added then the sub disclosure items again to help you to explain the exposure to the credit risk for this instrument, the exposure to the currency risk for this instrument and this financial asset, and then lastly your exposure to the credit risk. Okay, so that's a basic structure that all of these notes have. You have your main note, all your financial instruments related notes have then information about your exposure to the relevant risk items for that note. Okay. You would also see that in some of these notes, I just want to go to investments at fair value, for example. In some of these notes, you would so let me see. This is the investments at fair value. I just want to get to another one. Yeah, in some of these notes, you also have the option to present your assessment of the exposure to, for example, currency risk in this example, to do it in the note, or to rather do it in the main note for that deals with financial instruments and risk management, which in this context is note 36. So yes, like and the same applies to the interest rate risk. So it's an option we give to our users, and this is a bit the methodology that we borrowed or that we implemented from our IFRS template to have this option, where by default you can document and present and disclose your exposure to the relevant risk within the specific note, or you have an option to group that exposure in a separate note, which then is your financial instrument and financial risk management note. So if I jump to that note, this is then a note where your which you can either, and again, Caseware is what you switch on and off, and your options that you select. But overall, you still need to complete this note, because this note you you need to complete your categories of financial instruments, and you would see that this is automated, that we automatically pick up from the relevant line items that is on your balance sheet that is now related to financial instruments, and then we also put it against the relevant column of what class of financial instrument it is: fair value through surplus and deficit, mandatory, fair value through surplus and deficit, designated, and so forth. However, you would see that it's all input cells and it's not protected, meaning that if you don't agree, or in your context, the class of the financial, or the category of the financial instrument is not at amortized cost, but is at something else, then you can just override and put it into the right column, and it will, you know, and you can do it like that. So that's the purpose of us having this as input, to give it a bit more flexibility for you as the users. The same applies to the categories of the financial liabilities, and then also the pre-tax gains and losses on financial instruments, and that classification you can also do here. Then in this risk management note, it covers all the different additional disclosure you need to do on the financial liabilities, as well as on the capital risk management. However, you would see that on your financial risk management, that deals then with all your different risk exposure to the credit risk, your currency risk, and your interest rate risk. You can document it here, but you also, just to get back to that that option that you can see here, that because I've selected on the currency risk that I will present it within the overarching risk management note, it's auto selected here, and which means that I need to complete that information in this risk management note, and I don't need to complete it in the individual note. Okay. So I think that's overall a trend for you to understand how we deal with the financial instruments. We took the financial assets and liabilities, other financial assets and other financial liabilities line item. We removed it and we replaced it with more detail line items on the assets and then on the liability side, and then added the relevant notes. And then in the relevant notes, we deal with the, in all the financial instruments notes, we deal with all the different additional financial instrument disclosures you need to do in that specific note. Okay. However, when we have done that, we also needed, as I mentioned, update the statement of financial performance, and we needed to add those additional line items that's required by IPSAS 1 to the statement of financial performance. In our IPSAS template, we see that most of users use a detailed type of income statement per nature. This is what we set it to. And then you also have an option to, and this is just standard procedure or standard features, is that you have sort of your normal revenue items split between exchange and non-exchange, and then your some expenses, generally used expense items, and then you have your other gains and losses. However, in some territories, you are not allowed to show, to show an other gain and loss. You should either include it under revenue and expenditure, and that you can easily do by going to the settings and format and settings option in the statement, select show line items presented below gains and losses as part of revenue expenditure. And if you do that, then those line items, including those line items that's now relevant to IPSAS 41, will move from below the line to be included as part of revenue and expenses. So just doing this thing, you can see now there's no other gains and losses anymore, and based on the signage, it will either be included under expenses or revenue, and in some territories this would be the recommendation. Still, the remission of then this in an existing note, but remission to National Treasury is a Kenyan requirement. It's still there, and nothing has changed. Okay. I'm just looking at the time. I just want to cover a few things more. As we've added those new rows on the statement of financial position, we needed to cater for that in the cash flow statement. Again, if you are a seasoned Caseware user, you would know that in the IFRS template they use the cash flow worksheet. However, in this IPSAS template, we will still, it's on our roadmap to move over to the cash flow worksheet. But for now, we remained with the existing cash flow statement calculation, which is part of the financial statements and not sitting outside in a worksheet. So this will this is like the version of the cash flow statement before the cash flow worksheet, which is still in the IPSAS template that we have included here. What is important is that what we did is that, for example, on the cash flow statement is that we can only pick up the net movement, and we do pick up the net movement automatically. For example, the net movement on the debt instrument at fair value through net assets, we ought to calculate that based on the changes on the face of the statement of financial position. However, what the inflow of the cash and the outflow of the cash is, we can't determine. That is an input that would be required to be done by the user, and all that you need to do is to type in what is the cash advance, the outflow, and what was the inflow, or other way around, and that will and then you can see the outflow and the inflow of the movement of the line item on the statement of financial position that you can then present in the cash flow. You would note that the line item that calculates the net movement does not turn to black, meaning it will always be excluded from the print. You will only see the inflow or the outflow of cash that you have completed, and rest assured that we will not double account that in the total year. So how this total work, it doesn't take into consideration the net movement, and therefore it will not double account for the line items in this specific table. But so you can see here for all of the new financial instruments line item we added to the face, we added this functionality in the cash flow statement for you to help you to present the inflow and the outflow. We ought to calculate it to the cash receipt. However, this could be a total cash outflow, and then you need to complete it like that, and it will just deduct it like that from there, something like that. So you can see here now it's presented on the cash advance and receipt. So those two totals automatically deduct from each other in order for you to split the inflow and outflow, but it always needs to agree to the net movement. Okay, I hope that's not too complicated. The same applies, the same change we needed to do on the investing activities, the financing activities, and then also in the not that type of change in the operating activities, more just the movement of the relevant line items on the operating activities. For example, we have allocated the movement of the social benefit obligation to the operating activities, but this will just be the net movement of the obligation that you would have in your statement of financial position. Okay. After we've made that massive also changes to the cash flow statement for all of those line items, including the financial instruments, we needed to go to, we call it the BC statement, just because the statement of comparative or budget and actual amounts is a mouthful, and BC stands for budget comparison. So in the same changes we needed to do on the BC statement. Remember, this statement of budget and actual amounts are automated if you import the budget trial balance and adjusted budget trial balance. This is automated, and that's why there's so multiple columns. And the same applies to the changes we needed to make for the statement of financial position, and for all those new line items we needed to add due to the new line items you need to add on the statement of financial position for the changes in IPSAS 41 and 42. Okay, then just in the last few minutes, I just wanted then to take you through, let's just quickly go to the cover page. You would see now, this is really also to help with our Kenyan clients. The treasury specimen there require 2 logos, and therefore we've given the users the option to have 2 logos on their cover page, and the same process applies. You can see here that if you want to add the logo, the second logo, you must just add logo 2.bmp image file to your folder that contains your Caseware folder of this client file, and then the logo will pull through there. And then lastly, and I just wanted to give some time for questions, then lastly, also for our Kenyan clients, is we added this this table. Our users really struggled with this table to add images of their, in the Kenyan specimen, the board of directors. Then you need to add image, a picture of the board member, and then do a write-up. To have this structure was really difficult, so we just added this this capability for you to browse to the image of to browse to the image. Let's just see if I have something that is usable. And I don't think that's going to be usable. No, not that. But you can browse to the image of, picture of the board member, and here on the right hand side do a nice write-up. And if you want to add, you need to sometimes, it's like 10 board members that you need to add. You can just add another image and go on or another table that you can then add an image, do a write-up, add an image, do a write-up. The same applies to the management, the key management team. It's now much easier for you to add an image of your user, do a write-up of the key management team, add an image, and if you need more, you can just click on add another image. Okay. So I think this is a really nice feature that helps with our Kenyan clients. Then also on the Kenyan client side, we have we do quarterly reporting in this IPSAS template, and that quarterly reporting does require an annexure for the statement of financial position, which shows you not just the movement for the current quarter, but also for all the historical quarters. And that annexure we also updated, and it's with all the latest line items that we needed to add due to IPSAS, again, due to IPSAS 42 as well as IPSAS 41. Then lastly, before I'm going to take any questions, we also added the option for you to add a new alphanumeric tables. So let's just switch on this note. Switch on this node. Just give it a moment. And so what we can do is in your table options, if you go to your add a table at the bottom, you would see there's now this new table type, add 1 to 5 alphanumeric column. What makes this table type very nice is that you can add an alphanumeric column. Everything can be in a tabular format, but you don't need to have a value, you know, a currency value in order for the table to switch on. You just need to have text that you can put in a tabular format. Okay, whilst that is running, I just want to check if there is any questions. I don't see any questions. In the question section, I don't see something in the chat. So I just wanted to check out if there is any questions. Okay, just give it a moment. Okay, so this is the new alphanumeric table that we've added that you can use also in this release, and that just gives you the option to write text, here. I think if you are an existing Caseware user, I think you would appreciate this type of table, because normally you want to add tables and you need to put in a value for it to print. Now you can just add a text column, and you can even still change this column to be numeric or alphanumeric, but this table gives you the option that it will always print without the requirement of having a value that you need to punch in for the table to print. Okay. We are now at it's now 11 o'clock on my watch, and so we are at the end of this webinar. I know it's a lot. I hope I simplified it just on what did we do on this IPSAS release. There's a lot of content that is changing. We don't expect everything to be perfect because IPSAS is such a new standard. IPSAS 41 is such a new standard, but we needed to start somewhere. We used the methodology and the presentation disclosure method we use in our IFRS template as a base, and that's how we implemented IPSAS 41 in our IPSAS template. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. or to any of our Caseware staff, your account manager, we will gladly assist and get back to you. But with that, I am concluding this webinar. Again, please don't hesitate to ask a question. We will gladly assist. Thank you, and we will see you soon again.